there was a viral video a couple months back where this lady, she said her financial plan with her student loans was to die with them and to never pay it back. Please tell us, as a student loan expert, please tell us your thoughts on that.
I think that is one of the worst ways that you could go out. Why would
going out sad?
Going out sad. Like, why would you want to go out with so much debt on your back? By not making your payments, you're impacting one of the largest criterias on your credit score, and that's your payment history. You're also impacting your debt to income ratio, and lenders utilize your debt to income ratio for things like purchasing your home, purchasing your car, your insurance.
I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. Yeah. I'm trying to give me a bag.
What's up? You are now listening to FY Fly the podcast, and I'm your host, Hassan Thomas, along with Remy, and we are here to share tools on how millennials can budget, save, invest, and understand student debt and credit to achieve financial freedom. If you're a high school student, college student, or someone who's interested in gaining more financial insight, this podcast is for you.
I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. Yeah. I'm trying to...
What's up, my FY Fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FY Fly podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, aka the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today we're gonna be chopping it up with Educator, certified financial planner, and certified debt slayer, Miss Romy Pickron. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, Hassan.
Yes, ma'am. Happy to have you here. We got connected by my man, Derek Wesley. Shout out to him, the CEO of Sealand Financial Education. And we're going to rock out here today because what we like to do on FY Fly, we like to skip the fluff and get right into the good stuff. That sound good?
Let's get it.
All right. Bet. So I feel like, before we get into the real on student debt and what we need to know, I want to know for you personally, were you always good with money, or was there a time in your life where you were like, okay, now it's time to get right?
That's a great question, Hassan. I'll say half and half. I started out really great, thanks to my mother introducing me to money concept at an early age, and then fell victim to credit card debt and had to work my way out through that.
So was it the lack of education around credit and those type of things, or like what was that for you? What was it that got you to that point?
Yes, it was the lack of education. I feel like a lot of people have fell victim to it, where you just don't know the ins and outs of what a credit card really means. How is interest accumulated? How does all of this affect your credit score? Making your payments on time, making late payments, receiving late fees. So it was most certainly the overall lack of education regarding credit card debt. Because
I know you said you were good at the money management piece. You were good at the saving. Did your parents teach you that? Did you see them do it? Did they talk to you about it? What was that like?
Combination of all of the above. As I mentioned, my mother introduced the concept of money to me by giving me an allowance. She also would share small things like going to the grocery store and allowing me to look at the prices and check out the total bill, and getting me involved in purchasing my school clothing so I could see the pricing of everything and then total it up. So as I mentioned, she's done a great job of just getting me involved. You'll be surprised at how fast kids pick up on things when you just do the basic things by simply getting them involved with everyday life. And
you mentioned earlier about you getting into credit card debt, from the lack of education that, nobody was taught. If you didn't have the parent teaching you, you weren't really taught about credit education, financial literacy, and things of that nature. So I want to know from you, what are some of the strategies that you used to pay off debt?
I personally used a combination of things, specifically the popular methods, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche.
Break them down for us. Give it to us.
Yes.
Give it to us.
Yes, absolutely. So for those who aren't familiar with the debt snowball and debt avalanche, so those are very popular methods to knock down your student loan debt. And so with the debt snowball, basically you address the smallest balance first. And the reason why you do that is because it motivates you and it inspires you to keep going. So for example, let's say you have three loans. You have one for 1,000, you have one for 3,000, and you have one for 5,000. When you see all of them together, it's like, wow, that's a good amount that I have to pay. But when you start breaking them down one by one, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, okay, it seems more doable. It seems more likely. Then when you address the first one, the smallest one, you knock that 1,000 off. You're feeling good. You're feeling inspired. Like, I got this. I got it. I need to hit this 3,000. Then you're like, hey, I can keep this going. I can get it done.
Yeah, that momentum building, that snowball.
Yes, you're building the momentum with the snowball. So you address the smallest one first, and then you eventually work your way to the biggest one, and it builds your momentum. And so that's the thing that I really like about the snowball method. And that's what I recommend that people start with, because it does allow you to build your momentum, and it inspires you to keep going. And so the next method would be the debt avalanche. And this is a big avalanche. So you think about all the debt that you have. You think about addressing the debt that's costing you the most money. So that's the debt with the highest interest rate. You're going to organize your debt, and you're going to address the one that is costing you the most money. And what I like about this one is you're addressing the debt that's costing you the most money first. So ultimately, when you're done with everything, it saves you the most money. Yes, I use both of them because at the beginning of my debt journey, I needed that inspiration. So I said, let me just address the smallest items first to give me that quick boost to keep going. And after I got the hang of it, I said, okay, I'm going to switch it over to debt snowball, because ultimately I want to save the most money at the end of the day so I can redirect this money to my app. So that's how I done it.
That's huge. Combining both methods. I think both methods are great. Like you mentioned, the first one, really great for that mental aspect that you have, building that momentum, and then that debt avalanche, knocking out the one that's costing you the most from those high interest payments. Now you saving a lot of money, saving more money that you can allocate to your needs, to some of your wants, to investing. So I think those methods are huge. So congratulations to you for paying down that debt. And a lot of people are going through this, and that's why I really, really wanted to have you on. So I want to jump right into this student debt. So for those who may not know, student debt payments have been on a freeze for the last 3 years, and they're picking back up in October. So what are some of the concerns that you have for those students, for those borrowers who are about to resume payments?
That's right, Hassan. You said it. Payments are about to resume in October, but let's not forget that interest has already started to accrue as of September. So that's already happening right now.
Yeah, we haven't heard about that. We heard October. I know a lot of people didn't even know about that.
Yep, September 1st, interest already started to accrue on your student loan debt. So that means that the interest that you have, it started to gain and accumulate on your student loan debt. And then October, that's when your payments will be resumed. Because if you remember, 3 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic, interest and payments were frozen. September 1st, interest resumed. And then in October, the payments will resume. Yes. And so some of the concerns that I have, Hassan, is that people really just don't have it. They don't have that extra money. I mean, if you really think about the economy and what's been happening over the last few years, we are coming from an all-time high of inflation. So people have had to pay much more for everyday items like food, gas, utilities, transportation, and not to mention on top of that, we're also coming from mass layoff. So hundreds of thousands of people were laid off and are still looking to this day for employment.
Yeah, while things are still rising, and that's the
yes, absolutely. So people, in my opinion, I feel like people just don't have it.
And you know, an additional thing, I was doing some research. And because of the unprecedented times that we had from COVID, people and COVID and quarantine and being locked in, people are spending more because they're trying to make up for all of that time that we really couldn't. They're making up with traveling, they're making up with different experiences. So that's another reason, the personal savings rate probably has declined. But I want to know from you, there is a new, payment plan available for people called Save. And I want to know how we can take advantage of that. Will that help the people who don't have enough money to allocate to this new expense that's about to pick up in October? Because we haven't had to pay it in the last 3 years.
Yes, that's right. And thankfully, the Save plan came out just in time. I do appreciate the fact that it is one of the most innovative and most generous plans. And so some of the advantages that people can take advantage of is the 10-year forgiveness. And that is huge for borrowers, because if you have a smaller loan, for example, if you went to a community college and you have a smaller loan of $12,000 or less, and you make your payments for 10 years, then your loans are automatically forgiven.
That's major.
Yes, that's major, because in the past with income-based repayment plans, it took 20 to 25 years to be eligible for forgiveness. So they just slashed that all the way down to 10 years.
Okay. No, that's huge, because I know, like you said, I was doing some research and saw that it was 20 to 25 years previously. And I know that will help a lot of people, because really, from hearing this, what I would do, I would make a budget for the next 10 years, see how much I can allocate, sign up for that Save plan. So I know I was going on somewhere with this, but now I have a question. So is the Save plan the same thing as an income repayment plan? Is that a type, or like is that the only one available now?
That's a great question. So the Save plan is an income-based repayment plan, and it is a specific type, because there are a few other income-based repayment plans. But as I mentioned, the Save plan is considered one of the most generous plans, income-based repayment plans, based on that 10-year forgiveness that I mentioned. And in addition to that, one of the biggest advantages that I am so happy to see with the Save plan is that if you are making your monthly payments and there is unpaid interest within your monthly payments, then that interest is automatically waived. And that can save borrowers thousands of dollars, because interest is where people get hurt the most. And interest is where your student loan balances doubles and even triples in some cases. Yeah,
especially a lot of us, like you said, we don't have the money. And if we do have a little spare change, then we're doing the minimum required payment, and that interest is eating us up. Wow. Yeah, that's going to help a lot of people right there. And I have a couple more questions for you. I don't know if you remember, but there was a viral video a couple months back where this lady, she said her financial plan with her student loans was to die with them and to never pay it back. Please tell us, as a student loan expert, please tell us your thoughts on that.
I think that is one of the worst ways that you could go out. Why would
going out sad?
Like, why would you want to go out with so much debt on your back if you can help it? Hassan, one of my friends called me yesterday and she told me that she got more than $100,000 of student loan debt forgiven. And she felt like it was one of the best things that had happened to her in her life. And she felt like this was one of the hugest burdens that had been relieved from her, and that she just felt a sense of calm over her. And so for me saying that, why would you just want to go out with so much debt on your head and have this burden on your back? So I think that is ridiculous. I certainly would not recommend it. And not only that, not only do you have this huge burden on your back, but student loans affect your credit score tremendously. They affect
a lot of people didn't even know that.
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to making your student loan payment, by not making your payments, you're impacting one of the largest criteria on your credit score, and that's your payment history. Your payment history actually accounts for 30, again, the largest criteria within your credit score. So if you're not making those payments, then you're taking a huge hit to your credit score. And you're also impacting your debt to income ratio. And lenders utilize your debt to income ratio for things like purchasing your home, purchasing your car, your insurance. So when you have a high debt to income ratio, then you are considered someone who is high risk for lending purposes. So then you are provided with a higher interest rate. And we all know what happens when you have a higher interest rate. That means you're paying more money. Yes, you're paying. So no, I certainly wouldn't recommend going out sad like that with all this debt on all this debt on your head. No, not at all.
Well, I appreciate you breaking it down like that, because my people need to know, as I said, we need to know the pros of paying that debt off. And we also need to know what happens if we don't. We need to know the true consequences of not paying that debt off. And for everybody listening, we all want to do those adult things. We all need some type of transportation. We all need some type of place where we're living at, have a roof over our head. So if we don't pay our student loans off, those things become harder to obtain. And then if we do get them, we got to pay more anyways. So you might as well, let's take advantage of these opportunities that we have. Let's use the resources that are available to us to make the best choices for us in the long run. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining the show. If you have any final words, any final takeaways, go ahead and also let them know where to reach you.
Thank you for having me today, Hassan, and thank you so much to the listeners. If you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or now X as it's called, at Asset Achievers. And please make sure to follow us, Educify app, on all platforms to gain resources and information to reduce your student loan debt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. For everybody listening, I need y'all to take some of those small gems that you hear today. I know we talked about a lot, but if you can take some small gems, some small action items that you can implement into your game, I promise you, over time, those will turn to large results. So please, 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 not only listen, but implement and get active with it.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining. We rocked out. We killed it through thick and thin, through everything we went through. We're going to make sure y'all get this great game. So my audience, stay safe, stay invested, and stay FY fly.
Bye.
So
yes.
I have a couple more questions for you. You did mention in the beginning that you were a co-founder of a mobile app. So talk to us about that app and how can it help people?
Yes. So Hassan, my co-founder and I, we initially paid off $1,000 of student loan debt within 2.5 years.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And let me just share with you the average time frame. So the average time frame that it takes for borrowers to pay off their student loan debt is 20 years on the low end and 40 years on the high end. So when we think about what we accomplished, my co-founder and I, within 2.5 years, we felt like, whoa, this is incredible. We can help others, and we can do this in the same exact way that we strategized to pay off our student loan debt. And so that's how Educify was established after we witnessed our own personal success. And so since then, we worked with Howard University in an accelerator program, Pitch HU, and we won $10,000 as second place runner up. Yep. For an award of $10,000. And that allowed us to develop the first version of our app. Currently, it's actually a desktop-based app, and we're in the beta version. But we're steadily growing and making improvements to it. And it will certainly be a mobile app that'll be available within the App Store. And so our primary objective is to work specifically with HBCUs, so historically Black colleges and universities, to implement our student loan reduction app, because African Americans are disproportionately impacted by student loan debt. So we take out more student loan debt than our counterparts.
That is a huge number.
Yes. And that's based on a few different factors, but mainly the racial wealth gap in the United States. And in addition to that, women, although we're about half of the population, we take out 2/3 of the student loan debt in the United States. So we want to roll this out to the most proportionally impacted demographic of individuals initially to reduce our student loan debt. And the premise of DeFi is to match you up with an accountability partner and then provide you with a strategy to reduce your student loan debt. So we pride ourselves on taking an innovative approach to reducing student loan debt. And we look forward to rolling it out to universities, colleges, and compatible organizations. So to you guys listening out there right now, make sure to follow us and spread the word about DeFi so that we can come into your universities, your colleges, your local organizations and help you reduce student loan debt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. One key thing that I found different from your app is that accountability piece. I think that's going to be great, getting people involved, getting people that, you know, say, for example, one user has a spouse, they have a family member, and they're able to, you know, hold each other accountable. You're going to see much bigger results and faster results because, you know, you do it, you know, you go further together than you do by yourself. So
absolutely. And
that's huge.
That's the premise. Yes. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. So this is FY Fly, and we can't have you on here and not ask our famous final question. So I'm going to tell you 2 quotes, and I need you to let me know which one is more accurate in your opinion. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. So the first one is more money, more problems, like Biggie. Second one is money can't buy happiness. Which one do you agree with most?
Now, I know the culture wants me to say more money, more problems, like Biggie. Shout out Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to say that money definitely cannot buy happiness because true happiness comes from within. And not only that, happiness is a state of mind.
Facts.
It's not based on what you have or what you're going to have. So money definitely cannot buy happiness. Happiness comes from within. So you have to muster up that for yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I believe happiness, you know, is temporary. You know, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, things go up and down. But the internal joy, that comes from a decision in yourself where you're going to decide to be joyful. You're going to decide to have an optimistic outlook on life compared to a pessimistic. So I agree with you 100%. And thank you so much for joining the show. If you have any final words, any final takeaways, go ahead and also let them know where to reach you.
Thank you for having me today, Hassan. And thank you so much to the listeners. If you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or now X as it's called, at Asset Achievers. And please make sure to follow us, Usify app, on all platforms to gain resources and information to reduce your student loan debt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. For everybody listening, I need y'all to take some of those small gems that you hear today. I know we talked about a lot, but if you can take some small gems, some small action items that you can implement into your game, I promise you, over time, those will turn to large results. So please, 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 not only listen, but implement and get active with it.
That's
so
right.
Thank you so much for joining. We rocked out. We killed it through thick and thin, through everything we went through. We're going to make sure y'all get this great game. So my audience, stay safe, stay invested, and stay FY Fly.
Bye.